You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hey guys, welcome in. It's the Outspoken Sportscast here. Your host Brian and Craig. How's it going, Craig?
How are you today?
I'm good. Trying to keep up with all the information that's been coming down the pipeline, man. It is a lot.
Blown up.
Blown up the last 2 days. So this is the episode 141 Talks on Tuesday, Cleveland Brown edition. And we started a new segment last week where we come up with a question of the week, and me and you talk about it on Tuesdays. Now, the question this week is coming after we got the suspension for Deshaun Watson. The question is, can the Cleveland Browns make it to the playoffs despite Deshaun Watson missing 6 games? We got your headlines of the week, including the six game suspension for Deshaun Watson. We have the NFL has punished the Miami Dolphins. We have a contract for Deebo Samuel. We got some baseball news as well as today is the trade deadline, and a legend passes away. Coming up right after this, guys. All right, guys, welcome in. Question of the week, Craig, and this one you came up with. Fantastic question after Deshaun Watson information came out. And the question of the week is, can the Cleveland Browns make it to the playoffs with Deshaun being out 6 games? Will those 6 games hurt him? And I think it will a little bit. Obviously, they're going to have Jacoby Brissett, and I think there's really 3 factors into this question. You really got to look at, obviously, the schedule, what you think of Brissett, and their division as well. So I went and looked up the 6 games, and those 6 games are not too difficult at all for Cleveland.
That's why I looked at it. I was like, well,
they play the Panthers, the Jets, the Steelers, the Falcons, and then the Chargers and Patriots. And the Chargers and Patriots will be the toughest ones there. Obviously, the Chargers, Patriots number 2. I could easily. I mean, looking at the team, they're talented enough to go 4-2 by the time Deshaun Watson comes back, and that's in a really good boat. Really good boat. Now Brissett, he's like the best backup in the NFL, right? I mean, he started for teams.
He's a little bit better than your standard bus driver.
Yeah. This team is talented. They have talent on the defense. They have talent on the offense. They got Amari Cooper from Dallas Cowboys. They have one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL. This team is built to win now. They were just missing that quarterback. And they could, you know, if they fit, I think if they go 500, if they come out and they go 3-3,
that's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal. You don't totally bomb in 1-5, and you're looking at some trouble there. The Steelers got a lot of question marks at the most important position. The defense will be good. I think that'll be a slug match. The Jets, I don't think they have a chance. The Panthers, who knows? Their coach says we have 2 starting quarterbacks, and I'm like, well, if you've got 2 starting quarterbacks,
you don't even know who's you thought Baker had that circled on his calendar, and he's not even right now leading the way.
Apparently, right now he's not looking very good. Sorry, Patrick. We totally ignored the comments here. Patrick says if Cooper can stay healthy, he's already hurt his ankle. That is true. Cooper does get hurt quite a bit, but he does play through it. It just depends on 100% he is. I think it's a good pickup for them, regardless. But going back to the Panthers, yeah, if you have 2 starting quarterbacks, then you really have 0 because, yeah, exactly. You don't have any. The Falcons are nobodies. No offense, Falcons fans. If we have any Falcons
fans?
No
named Mariota the starter in Atlanta. So,
and after day 1 of practice, right? They didn't. Their rookie. I don't know if it was that far. From they were like, this guy's not even close, or. But
yeah, I just I think they have a shot. I really do. I looked at the schedule and was like, huh. I was like, this might not hurt them as bad as they think. And so, yeah, I think looking at the schedule and I think looking at the team and looking at the coaching staff, I believe they have a real good shot to at least not be. I mean, we hadn't even talked about them. We just cast them off.
Bracket up. Yep, we're gonna blow the bracket up. Let's look at their division. Obviously, the Bengals are the best in their division.
Yeah, there's no way they finish higher than Cincinnati.
There's no question. But the Steelers,
I think they could finish higher than anybody else in that division.
Oh yeah, you got the Steelers who questions at the quarterback in that spot could lose you a bunch of games. Ravens they struggled last year. That they got no offensive weapons.
Yeah, I'm not a Jackson fan, and I'm not. I mean, you get rid of your best wideout, and I think you got old on defense. I think the Ravens could be basically rebuilding.
Yeah, they talk about how Jackson's gotten bigger, and I think they're all their eggs are in the Jackson basket, and I just don't think it's going to work out too good for him.
They want him, if he's getting bigger, that probably means they want him to run more, which probably means he has a chance of getting hurt more. Right. I don't see that playing out well.
Definitely not. To me, there's a realistic chance that Cleveland can make it, and I think they probably do, unless look. I had the Ravens in the playoffs, but I could easily put the Cleveland Browns there, if they go 500 and or 4-2 starting out, and Deshaun Watson comes in, and then now you got to still think about how Watson will play. He hasn't played in 2 years. Well, is he going to come out with some rust? Is he going to come out with a chip on his shoulder? The Cleveland Browns fans are already giving him a standing ovation out there. So it's very doable for the Cleveland Browns to have some hope. And honestly,
absolutely. A whole lot more hope than they had 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, the Cleveland Browns are looking pretty dang smart right now. They got a quarterback that's that when he played was a top 5 talent in the NFL quarterback list. They got a guy who they signed for. They gave him a $40 million signing bonus, but his salary this year is $1 million. So those 6 games that he's missing, it's really not hurting. It's not hurting him. Yeah, it's like $345,000. It's not. They're not hurting themselves. They look very smart right now. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you agree with it as them hiring a sex offender or whatever, not a sex offender, but is that the
predator.
Right word? A predator. There you go. That's on a different story. That's more of a moral compass. But as far as business goes, they look very smart right now, and they've kind of the NFL is kind of has basically won against Deshaun and getting the 6 games, but in the long run, the Cleveland Browns look smart, and Deshaun's won with giving away no money basically, and he's going to miss 6 games. That's a slap on the wrist, and we'll get into that in a little bit here too as well. But so me and you both agree. Have you had to put a percentage on it? The Cleveland Browns making the playoffs next year. What was your percentage? How are you feeling your gut? What would your percentage be on it?
65% with that schedule.
Yeah, I'd say about the same, about 60%. 60% say they will, and that's going to blow up our bracket. That's going to ruin. It's going to ruin our bracket if the Cleveland Browns make it. But, well, that was a pretty easy question to answer, I guess.
I guess so. Looking at the schedule,
the schedule is just easy, but there is a chance they could make it. But all right, guys. Well, that was your question of the week about the Cleveland Browns, and we're going to jump into the headlines of the week here. And this is the first headline is going to be all about Deshaun Watson. Okay. Federal Judge Sue L. Robinson ruled that Deshaun Watson to be suspended 6 games, which Patrick says he hopes they crash and burn. This is no Cinderella story. Look, there will be some targets on Cleveland Browns. Definitely. You'll have the division going after him a lot. Deshaun Watson on the road is going to get booed like he's never been booed in his life. I guarantee it. The Cleveland fans will cheer him because we've talked about it before. Winning, if he wins games for them, it will be the elixir to cure all for the Cleveland Browns and that fan base. And that's just fact. That's just the way it is. But going into other stadiums, he will get booed. But the federal judge has ruled 6 games. Now, we thought of, Craig, when we talked about this a little bit ago, about bringing in the third person, bringing in that third, the federal judge to kind of get it. And Roger Goodell does have the authority to change the ruling, to not change the ruling, but to suspend, add more to it. But they answered the question that we asked about it. What was the point of having a third person if Roger Goodell can just change the sentencing, right? If Roger Goodell could fight this. Well, it said that basically, in short terms, the NFL now has to prove its case. The NFL back in the day could just Roger Goodell just come out and go 17 games, whatever it was, 12 games, 8 games. There's no argument. Now Roger Goodell has to come up. They have to get their lawyers together, come up with a case, and present it of why they think this guy should be suspended for so many X amount of games. And then that federal judge will come up with their own conclusion, what she did for Deshaun Watson. Roger Goodell can still change it, but it's going to be harder to change when someone else says it's 6 games, when the Players Association is there fighting. It's basically like you're in court against each other. That's what I got out of it, was that they have to go in there with a case, and they have to prove it. They have to prove why he should be suspended. Does that make sense? Now, I mean,
yeah, kind of. But I mean, the bottom line is they didn't prove it the first time to the judge. They didn't present any of the cases. They presented 4 of the 24. They didn't go for broke. They didn't hammer this guy. I don't like the whole we negotiated all weekend. The NFL wants 12 games and an $8 million fine. Deshaun wants none, but he'll settle for 6 or 8. Where was that in the CBA that we can now negotiate our punishment? That's something completely that I've never heard of before. The bottom line is the NFL has again screwed this up royally. I understand the judge's side point of this is what I looked at their CBA. Their CBA says if you violate the conduct policy of the NFL, you get 6 games. And he violated the conduct policy by doing this, this, and this, so he's getting 6 games. And that's what the rule was before, so that's what I went with. I get it. But I also get that it's a female judge, and you had 24 women that were, abused or mistreated by this guy, and the behavior never changed itself, and here you are voting against. I mean, this ruling completely takes a slap to the face of every single one of these women that had done to him. This guy walks into a massage parlor and does whatever he wants to do, and basically this tells the NFL, you can do whatever you want, you're going to get 6 games. That's most you're going to get. So that's all you're going to do. So if you're willing to look at your schedule and go, yeah, I can miss 6 games, you can go into the massage parlor or whatever you want to do and do whatever you want to do. This is absolutely, you can't do it. It needed to be more. They needed to send a message. They needed to put the hammer down on this guy, and they didn't do it. And now you're in an appeal process. Well, guess what? If you go and appeal it, guess what that means? While it's being appealed, he can play. So Go ahead and let him play the first 3 or 4 games, and no, just let it go. I mean, they only have till Wednesday or Thursday. They have 3 days, 3 business days, and this came out Monday, I believe. So they have till Thursday, I think, to file anything. And I haven't heard. It's been crickets. This is basically the decision. I have heard nothing from Goodell. Nobody's from the NFL side has come out and said, we disagree with this. We're going to go after him. We're going to, deal. And they're not going to do it.
Well,
they're an absolute travesty.
They're saying that the NFL's outraged. The NFL's so mad. First of all,
then they should have appealed it already.
If the NFL was so mad, Goodell should have appealed it and fought for more games.
On Monday afternoon.
There's this false pretense. They want you to believe that they're so angry, that they care about what happened to these women, and they don't. The NFL
it's all about ratings.
The NFL has straight up told you that betting on NFL games is worse than sexually assaulting 24 women. Think about that. Think Calvin Ridley got a full season of game suspension for betting on football, and here's a guy that went into a massage parlor 66 times, 24 women came out, and did whatever he wanted to do, made them feel really uncomfortable, made them touch places that they weren't supposed to be touching, and he's going to walk away with 6 games, all because nothing was criminal, and because the NFL has butchered so many other procedures, so many other rulings in the past that the judge said, well, I can't go off of what I got to go off of what they've done. And the NFL saying nothing has been done in this magnitude before. 24 women, and the judge said that's not fair. The judge said you can change that ruling. You can change the rules after this, but it's not fair for them to change the rules basically now. And because they don't like what happened, they can set that ruling later on. It's a travesty. Deshaun Watson deserves a full season. I thought we were looking at 12 games being the minimal, and we didn't even get 12 games.
And how do we allow in the NFL the Cleveland Browns to go, hey, we know you're going to get suspended, so we're going to move this money over here to a signing bonus. They can't touch that money. Who?
How does that?
This should have cost him $20 million, and instead it cost him $345,000, and he gets to do whatever he wants. With these rules, we're just doing whatever we want to do. And we literally were doing whatever we want to do, and it's
all
insane.
about the money. They want you.
Yeah, I mean, he never loses any money. He loses 6 games that 4 of them are against high school teams, and doesn't matter. And
it's about ratings in the NFL. Yeah. They want you to believe that he's angry and that they're angry and they're mad, but really in the back of their head they're going, we get a superstar quarterback on the field after 6 games. That's great for ratings.
Yeah, and that's why they won't appeal it, because if they appeal it and he misses different games, well, now he's going to miss the Steelers game. Now he's going to miss the Bengals game. We don't want to do that. We're going to leave him miss the games that nobody's going to watch anyway. Who's watching the Browns and the Panthers? Nobody. And this is ridiculous.
They had a chance to put the foot down. Yes. And set an example going forward with this new system, and they completely failed. And we're going to see the same old crap we've always seen from the NFL.
this system's worse. At least Goodell came out with multiple, I mean, it was unprecedented, different number every time, but at least it was kind of fitting, this is, I mean,
the only one that wasn't fitting was Zeke with 6 games. Zeke got 6 games.
Because he got the same amount of games for something that happened before he was even in the NFL. He wasn't even in the NFL when it happened.
And that's what
the lady that done his case was a New York Giants fan. She, had Saquon Barkley jerseys hanging in her rafters. Wonder why she voted for that.
Yeah, that's what I want for the NFL. I want some equality and punishments. Like what?
This judge is probably a Browns fan. If you look at the background, she probably lives in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Insanity.
A
female judge, 6 games for 24 sexual assault cases.
And look,
blows my mind.
People are gonna come on here, and they're gonna think, "Oh, he never got charged criminally. He settled. That means he's guilty."
Zeke never paid anybody any money.
First of all. Who's the guy? Who's the guy that played for the Dallas Cowboys, and he's now in the UFC? He's now fighting people in not UFC, but Greg Hardy. You're gonna tell me he didn't beat his wife or his girlfriend? Okay,
body slammed her on some assault rifles,
beat her up, threw her on some assault rifles, and because she didn't show up in court because he settled out of court. Oh, yeah. He's innocent. He's innocent. Let him play. No criminal charges. The state of North
Carolina has different laws. If they don't show up, they can't, deal.
It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. You can't sit here and tell me that all 24 women are lying. I'm not saying some of them aren't, but you can't tell me out of all the stories and it doesn't matter if 23 of them are lying. All that matters is one of them. He did this to one of them, and that's enough for me. And that should be enough for you. There's people out there that'll defend Deshaun Watson because he didn't get no criminal charges. That's total BS. And that helps you sleep better at night. It helps you cheer for him and put that Cleveland Brown jersey on. Suit yourself. But you're completely – that is the dumbest argument I've ever heard of.
2 different people paid these women. The Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson. Everybody's not shelling out millions of dollars if nothing happened.
You're exactly right. The Houston Texans admitted to giving out the NDRs or NDAs.
I mean, if you're being sued by 24 women, are you paying them if you didn't do anything?
No. Heck no. And Deshaun Watson took those NDRs and said, I got this paper says I can do whatever I want. Yeah.
Killed whatever I want.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Everybody but Cleveland Brown fans are as mad as we are about this. And hopefully Goodell will do something.
Yeah, except for Goodell.
Yeah. All right. Well, the NFL has also punished the Miami Dolphins today. The NFL stripped the Dolphins of their 2023 first-round pick.
This seems more extreme.
Yes. You ain't lying. They also fined the owner, Stephen Ross, $1.5 million and suspended him until October for tampering with Tom Brady. And if you remember the whole Brian Flores firing debacle, and Brian Flores came out and said that the owner was wanting to pay him to lose games. And we were like, man, the Miami Dolphins owner, if this is true, is going to have to sell his team. That's the integrity of the game. That, interesting enough, all this punishment was for tampering with Tom Brady. I read an article today and it talked about there is no proof in the investigation they did that the owner was saying to lose games.
Because it's Flores' word against the owner, and the owner knows he's going to have to sell his franchise, so he doesn't, he doesn't deal. I don't know. To me,
there was an investigation by the NFL, and it said they didn't find any.
But I mean, it's really the owner. If they have nobody else other than Flores to prove that he said it, then it's going to be Flores' word, and you got to take the owner's No, yeah.
So, Patrick said that Roger looks like he's humped a few tables. I'm guessing Roger Goodell. Is that a shot at Aaron Rodgers? I don't.
Yeah, who knows?
That's more harsh than the Deshaun Watson punishment. That's insane.
Yeah, a first round pick. I mean, I don't know, a first and a third, and $1.5 million, which that's nothing. But I mean, and then he can't show up to any of the games until October, so he's going to miss the first month and a half of the season.
Did you? He said not Aaron. Yeah, Roger Goodell. Yeah, Roger Goodell looks like a. Roger Goodell's going to lose his job hopefully after the whole lawsuit.
Well, hopefully,
we're hoping that comes out. And
hopefully, this helps.
Yeah, they'll just throw that onto the fire, the cherry on top. But yeah, well, tampering's tampering, and they take that more serious in the NFL than they do the NBA. Yeah, bad luck for you guys. And they should have made Stephen Ross sell his team when they decided to fire Brian Flores, the winningest coach and you've had.
Yeah.
And
hey, this guy made the playoffs
years.
twice. Oh, he's terrible. Can't have any of that.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
2 years in a row, I made the playoffs. No, I gotta go.
Gotta go. All right. Well, our next is NFL as well. As Deebo Samuel is now a paid man in San Francisco, as they give him a 3-year, $73.5 million extension. Deebo Samuel is now the 6th highest paid wide receiver. And he should really, I think, with his workload and all that he brings to the team, if he's going to continue being the running back as well, which I don't think he's going, I think they're going to lighten that load on him. He should probably be a little higher than this 6th paid.
It will be interesting to see how they use him now. With the quarterback change in Lance, with the guy that doesn't have the proven skins on the wall to throw the ball around the yard. Do they ask Samuel to be more that hinge back, swing wide receiver,
right?
Running back type deal, that Swiss Army knife that he's been, or did he put some wording in this contract that says, no, we're not doing that? So that'll be interesting to see the first few weeks of the season, how they use him and what, how he shows up and how he melds with Trey Lance rather than the Jimmy G, that he had before. We'll see what his numbers look like, but I mean, these hold-ins they're starting to work. These guys are showing up. They're saying, I'm here. You can't find me, but I'm not going out there until I'm not crossing this line until you pay me. And it worked for Metcalf and it worked for Samuel. And I think it'll work for the rest of these guys that are doing it because, I mean, they'll show up to camp, but they won't, participate. And they can't. You could say my hamstring hurts or my knee hurts or my back hurts, and nobody can really prove any of it. So they're doing what they need to do. And this is a good move by the Players Association. Whoever came up with this idea to show up but not participate is absolutely winning this battle. So good for Deebo, and we'll see how it comes out.
We talked about the 49ers a lot last week or two that, we talked about whose decision it was to move on from Jimmy G and go with the young guy. And that's going to come out at one point later.
You'll find out because they won't have a job.
And I'm willing.
If it doesn't work.
I'm hoping. I'm waiting for that news to come out eventually, but going back to the 49ers in Miami, it was the 49ers offensive coordinator. He's now the coach out there in Miami, right? Can't think of his name. He was a nerdy looking dude. No offense to anybody, but the nerdy looking dude with the glasses. What's his face? Can't think of his name. You looking that up?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Well, there's bad news in the Denver Broncos.
Mike McDaniel?
Yes, that's it. Mike McDaniels. I'm interested to see how he does out there. I thought he did a good job
Better hope he
fantastic
doesn't
job.
make the playoffs 2 years in a row because then he'll get fired.
Then he'll get fired.
Yeah.
Let's go. I put it in wrong order here, Craig, but we're gonna jump down to the Denver Broncos, Jeff. Sorry, buddy, but you got some bad news today as wide receiver Tim Patrick was carted off the field and is confirmed he's tore his ACL, so he will be out the whole year. And then your running back, don't worry, it wasn't your number one running back. I think it was a rookie running back, Crockett. Also went down with a leg injury, and he was carted off the field as well. Some bad injuries there for the Denver Broncos. Tim Patrick, I believe, led the team last year in receiving, so that's not good news for them. You got Tristan Wirfs went down for Tampa, and I could hear Craig screaming for joy a couple cities away today at work for that because y'all play him game one. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they said that it's not serious injury. So, but that'll be 2 offensive linemen that'll be out. I mean,
Yeah.
with Wirfs might miss the first game. We don't know yet. He could be back, but they're going to miss their center. So that's pretty good for you guys to be. Good luck stopping Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Getting Tom Brady when your whole line's injured. But we hate. I mean, I joked about that, but I don't want anybody to get injured, and I don't want, especially now, like
No, look, they were saying this is the third guy in Denver that's torn an ACL like this, like a third wide receiver in the past few years. And I mean, I don't know if they need to look at where they're running camp at. Do they have a AstroTurf field? Do they have a something going on with the field? Do they have some bad conditions they're playing under? Because man, you can't just these knee injuries and stuff. You just can't be shredding guys' knees 2 days into practice.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they. I mean, it's a good question. Turf, grass. I know. We've seen Chicago. Chicago has some horrible grass. Horrible grass. I hate my team not to go there because it's like, oh.
Yeah.
We have the MLB trade deadline. Of course, Juan Soto's the major one there. Juan Soto's trades to the Padres, and this is the biggest haul I think ever in Major League Baseball. Is it not? Like the biggest.
Yeah, basically, and it almost didn't get done. The original deal had Hosmer in it, and Hosmer's got a no trade clause, and he had to approve the deal. Well, he didn't. They went to him and they said, "Hey, you're going to the Nationals." He's like, "Hey, no, I'm not. They're terrible, and I'm not going. I have a no trade clause." They were like, but he's like, "I don't care, not going." So that's where Luke Voigt now has come in, so that he forced the Nationals to give up another one of their big bats, and in return, they were like, "You're going to Boston," and so he got sent to Boston for cash considerations, and which I'm guessing is that he had one swing at the no trade clause. They could trade him and he could say no one time, and then they sent him to Boston and he didn't get a vote to be able to veto that, is what I'm guessing, because he wouldn't have gone there either. Why would you leave a team that very well might be making a World Series run, because they turned around and got Brandon Drury right before the deadline? They give up their number 6 shortstop prospect for him. San Diego has moved all the chips into the table, and that's great, except for when this group fans out, the next 20 years is going to be terrible, because you just depleted your whole farm.
Well, they're used to being terrible there in the Padres. So
Tatis hasn't even played a single game this year. He's probably on his way back now, so that lineup is going to be murderous. They just
Soto,
signed Musgrove.
Tatis, Machado.
They just signed Musgrove to another $100 million extension, so they got their ace locked up. They got James Shield. These guys are stacked top to bottom and could give the Dodgers a run. The Dodgers tried to get the Marlins pitcher at the deadline. That fell through.
They're stuck with Joey Gallo.
Gallo was their Soto answer. I think just the pressure of not being under the New York spotlight and not being and just getting a whole new start, a new hitting coach, a new uniform, some new guys in the clubhouse. And I will be interested to see if Gallo just survives this year. I will be interested to see what Joey Gallo hits next year when the shift rule comes in. Because
that's what
they cannot stack the deck and move everybody to one side. And I will be interested to see if this kid hits any better when the field is not stacked against him. When he can pull the ball and he doesn't have the extra fielders on that side to lock that down like that. I will be interested to see what Joey Gallo's numbers. I don't expect him to hit 300, but I do expect him to hit over 037. And I think the guy tried too hard. I think the guy put in much pressure on himself. Joey Gallo, when he was here, everybody just talked about his work ethic and his personality. And the guy was a fan favorite here, hitting monstrous home runs that still haven't landed yet. Played defense great, made some great catches, some great throws, and he didn't do any of that in New York. He did none of it. And I kind of think maybe he didn't want to go to New York to begin with, and then he gets there, and of course they're booing him out of the stadium week one into the deal. And I just think it was a bad look. There's two types of people: one that can play in New York and thrive, like Derek Jeter, and then there's guys like the guy from the Cleveland Indians that went, Javi Baez and them went up there to New York last year and couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle the booing and couldn't handle the deal and we're telling the fans, come on, egg it on, and trying to get in wars with the fans of talking trash to each other. And not performing well. So Lindor was the other guy. Lindor had a horrible season his first year in New York. I mean, they were ready to take that guy and cut him. He had such a horrible year. And so you're either going to thrive in New York or you're not. That's it.
When he went there, look, this Joey Gallo, I like him as a Texas Ranger. He was a fan favorite. He's a power hitter. He has one hell of an arm. He was our best hitter, and he refused to bat in third spot because he didn't want the pressure. So they sent him up to New York, and I said, this isn't going to work out. He doesn't like the pressure. He doesn't like the big spotlight. He wants to go and do his job. He wants to bat 6th, 7th, or 8th. He wants to just be another guy out there. It's not going to happen in New York. And
he doesn't want to open the tabloids every day and see his name. And that's what he thought.
Right. And I said this a while back. When that shift goes away, he will be better, and I'll take him back in Houston or take him back in Texas here. And I was hoping they would kind of go after him.
I don't know what kind of deal he's on in New York or what got transferred to LA, but I would think that this is a rental to the end of the year, and they'll cut him loose and find a new home for him.
The spotlight in LA is not that much dimmer than the one in New York, so he's gonna feel a lot of pressure.
The fans
aren't as big of assholes.
They're not throwing stuff on the field.
But
they're not throwing stuff on the field. They're not going to write articles every day of this guy went 0 for the season. The locker room in New York or in LA has heard to be, unless your name is Trevor Bauer, the locker room in LA has turned to be one that people love to be in. They love to be around Bellinger. They love to be around Turner. They like Kershaw. I just think Doc is a laid back, easygoing coach when the guy in New York is not. And so I just think he was guaranteed if somebody could take him, they were going to. So I just think it's a good thing for Gallo to get out of there and get a fresh start and deal. the Blue Jays got Whit Merrifield at the deadline. I think that's a solid pickup for them. Just a bunch of moves today that makes this down the line going to be an amazing race. But San Diego by far was all in. They sold the farm and did everything they needed to do. And I'm interested to see what this gets him. And I love when San Diego does this, because do you know where AJ Preller came from? That was John Daniels' right-hand man in Texas. And he moved on to San Diego and has built a powerhouse. Meanwhile, the fans in Texas have sit here and watched a rebuild. Your mic's muted. And
a rebuild for 6 years.
A decade.
Yeah, we've been rebuilding for.
AJ Preller has gone over and built a powerhouse, and he wanted Gallo along with it. He just went for Soto instead. He wanted to bring Gallo. He's wanted Gallo for years in San Diego. He tried to get him when they first called him up. He called John Daniels and says, "You don't want that guy. I'm the one that told you to draft him. Give him to me." and tried to get him back then, and it didn't work. And so AJ Preller has built a powerhouse in San Diego, and I'm telling you,
what's
Ranger
sad?
Fans are looking, going, we gave up the wrong guy.
Well, you know what's sad? The Rangers' future looks brighter than it has in a long time as far as prospects and what are AAA and
yes, and you
and
didn't
all
give
that.
anybody up at the deadline. You didn't try to go in and win this year. You stuck to your plan. And I like John Daniels has always done that. He's always stuck to his plan. He's always deal. And now with Chris Young in there, as his right-hand man, I think that's going to be a very solid deal. But the Ranger fans are ready to hang John Daniels out to dry. And I've never understood why. Because it's not John Daniels that gets to spend the money. He gets to spend what the owner gives him.
It's two things. You're exactly right. John Daniels has been the only guy to bring us to a championship. Okay. We didn't win them, but he's the only one to bring us there.
No, you didn't.
Okay. Shut your face. That first one, yes, go Rangers, Patrick. Yes. Go Rangers. Here's the sad thing. So you're exactly right. I want the owners to sell the team and get rid of them because the owners are garbage. I don't blame Josh Daniels. Josh Daniels only can do so much of what he's got. John Daniels. I always say Josh Daniels. The sad thing, Craig, is this is the best our farm's ever looked. We got some young guys on our team that can play. I don't trust or believe in the Rangers scouting teams and to build these players to turn into our future teams. They have never done it. We've never seen this star pitcher come in here and be amazing that we drafted. We've never seen these guys come up and be exactly who we thought they're going to be. That's my only problem is, yeah, we look good, but can we turn that into something? Time will tell. I like John Daniels. I like Chris Young coming in to help out, but the owners have spent money last offseason. Hopefully, they're going to spend more this offseason and get more pitching because our pitching is complete garbage. And we'll see where we go from there. But the Rangers are going to be competitive until about 2024, in my opinion. 2025. That's what they're talking about as far as they go. And hopefully I'm wrong and we see some of these young guys come up from AAA and AA and show that, they're exactly who we thought they were. And we can count on Leiter and we can count on Rocker and these young guys like Indolis that kind of came out of nowhere continue to play good. And, all the money you spent in Seager and Simeon did pan out because they started on slumps in the beginning of the season. And so I'm hoping good things for the Rangers, but we're not going to be competitive for a little bit.
Yeah, Simeon. The problem with Simeon is he's a defensive liability. He makes more errors than anybody in the game. He was one of the highest third base errors the year before when they drafted him. And then when he got here, Ranger fans were like, what happened? Well, if you look at his stats, that's what he does. The developmental side of the Rangers has been bad in the past, but Rocker's already had the shoulder cleaned up. He had a minor procedure to have that done. He's back. Leiter is the real deal. And so you got to have Tommy John, if it comes up. Most guys do these days. There's guys that are having it twice now. That used to be a death sentence. There's guys that are having it twice now and coming back and they're stronger than ever. So I don't blame the throwing program or the developmental side of it. These guys are, Kumar Rocker was throwing so many innings in college because it was basically a two-man show. It was him and Leiter were all that were deal. And in the middle of the championship series, this kid's taking a heavy ball and throwing it against the wall of the dugout. And guys are going up to him going, what are you doing? You've already thrown 2 million innings and you're in the middle of the championship series and you're throwing a heavy ball against the deal. So I think these kids these days don't understand the meaning of rest and time off and not throwing 1,000 innings. The Giants manager, he goes out there and gets these guys, and they have arguments on the mound because Alex Wood basically told him the other day, I'm not giving you the ball. And he talks Kapler out of giving him the ball. Kapler walks back in the dugout. He throws one more pitch, and it goes into the cove. And Kapler comes out and goes, give me that baseball now. You're done. And that's what we're talking about is these guys getting pissing matches with the manager. Trevor Bauer, I don't know if you ever remember this, but Terry Francona come out to get the ball from him, and he turned around and threw it to center field and threw it over the wall in center field 400 feet away. And Terry Francona goes, what in the world are you doing? Have you looked? And that was Trevor Bauer's last game in Cleveland. They got rid of him.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just not like the old days. You don't have guys that have 10 and 12 complete games a year. You don't have over 200 innings. They're trying to manage these guys, and these kids aren't wanting to take part in it.
What's crazy to me too is if we bring that up, people are having Tommy John now, and it's like, but you don't pitch as much nowadays that you see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're almost having it willingly. They're almost having it. There's guys that are having it just to have it because it supposedly makes the elbow stronger.
There's a question the other day, and we don't probably have time to get into it, but something we can dissect later on about the question they brought up on the radio about is the starting pitcher dead in Major League Baseball because they don't pitch 7 innings. They don't pitch these innings that they used to. And honestly, I miss that. I think analytics in baseball has been bad for the sport, but that's another subject we can talk about
the
later down the
Boston
road.
Red Sox, this stat came out the other day. The Boston Red Sox have gone 29 starts without the starting pitcher recording a win. That's the third longest streak in Major League Baseball history. And I don't know, it might be at 31 or 32 now. That was a couple days ago. So 29 straight games in which your starter hasn't gotten a win. I guarantee the Rangers have somebody that, that has a win in 29 games. And so that the starters aren't going 5 innings. The first time that they go through the lineup, if 2 guys get a hit, they got somebody in the bullpen warming up already. It's the new deal. Your long guys, your middle relievers, your bullpens. Kapler has been known for burying his bullpen usage. That's what got him fired in Philadelphia. He won, but the guys didn't like his bullpen usage. The guys in the bullpen were, the guy that they got from Texas. He's a left-hander.
No.
Starts with a D. Diekman. Diekman hated him because he used Diekman. He rode Diekman like Seabiscuit. He's like, you're pitching every night, and he's like, I can't. My arm can't deal with it. And these guys are just burned out because if he finds somebody that works, he'll go to him every day if he has to. And so, I mean, it's just all in what you like and what you deal. And I think you're right. I think the days of 7, 8, 9 innings, they're gone. I mean, Kershaw said, hey, I'm okay with being pulled during a perfect game. I'm okay with being pulled. I mean,
it's insane.
These guys just don't. These things just don't have the deal, the mindset to more. They know at about the 6th inning, they're turning around, looking over their shoulder, going, "Hey, man, is somebody coming? I'm throwing about 80 pitches here. My night's got to be getting cut."
Yeah,
I
think.
And back in the day, they'd be throwing 120 pitches, and they'd be looking over, going, and they're like, "Nah, you, bro, that's all you."
Oh, sorry.
No, yeah, that's what it is. It's these days.
This is a conversation that me and you need to have as a topic on one of these shows. I talked about it a long time ago when it was just me going solo about how analytics have changed sports, and I think analytics have changed sports. It's baseball. I think it's been terrible. Basketball, I think it's been terrible. Football, I think it's been way better. So something we need to dive into. And I don't even know how analytics have touched hockey or if it has at all, but. All right, well, we'll go into our next headline here, and it's our last headline of the night. We got some sad news over the weekend that NBA legend Bill Russell passed away at the age of 88. 11-time champion Bill Russell, beast of a player, some guy that I never got to see, played way before my time of watching basketball. But a guy that will always be remembered as a legend. And, legends never die, right? They'll always be talked about. And, people are like, well, why isn't he considered to be the best basketball player of all time? 11 championships. So,
because nobody saw him.
Yeah, no one saw him play. They didn't have the ESPN and all that and that they do now. And this is a guy that also played it during the times that was very hard for African Americans to play in sports. He dealt with a lot of that hate and racism.
First African American head coach, won championships as a player and a coach. I mean, the guy's a legend. The guy, and this kind of came as a huge shock to me because he's normally at all these NBA All-Star weekends, and I had no idea that there was any kind of illness or that he wasn't doing well or anything. Last I knew, Bill Russell was still walking around going to games. And so when I read that, it very much took me by surprise. And it's almost as big as I understand Kobe was younger, but kind of that still shock of the game, when the legends pass. It's sad for the NBA.
Sad times, and I'm guessing he just passed away during old age complications.
I didn't hear any kind of that it came out later that he had cancer or anything like that. I just think that it was, just
88 is pretty old.
Well, I mean,
yeah, I think 88 is pretty old, but people are living to be 100 nowadays, so. It all depends. It all depends when the good Lord wants to take home. All right, well, that is our show tonight. I think we went a little faster than I expected, but we still popped out 52 minutes here, so that's good. Guys, come follow us. Come follow us on all the podcast platforms we have. We're on every social media site. We are on live stream to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter, and we are just having a blast, guys. We're on every Tuesday and Friday, coming up with the sports topics. We got the question of the week on Tuesdays. We got your spotlight of the week on Fridays, and anything in between. So we cover basically the 4 major sports with a little bit of golf, maybe golf news in here. Speaking of golf news, a little Tiger, you see how much money Tiger Woods turned down from the Live Tour?
Oh yeah. They said
700 to 800 million.
They
Like-
said that they said that when they originally did it that it was almost $1 billion. But I just don't think. I think Tiger did that. He says he did it for the PGA and that he couldn't go against the PGA. But I think Tiger knows that his time of playing events are limited, and to take that kind of money to be the face of this tour and not be able to be the face of the tour, I just think Tiger said, "Hey, listen, that's too much money to give me for something I can't do." When Tiger Woods does something, he wants to be able to do it all in, and I just think he looked at Greg Norman and said, "I can't." I can't, in my right frame of mind, take $700 million to not be what you're expecting me to be.
I mean,
and I can't play that many tournaments.
You think he would lose any sponsorships too coming over, taking
I
the
don't
Saudi
think so.
money?
If he didn't lose any sponsorships when he went through the whole Elon thing, or didn't lose the major ones, he still had all his Nike ones and still had all this, other stuff. He might have, but these guys really aren't losing sponsorships. I mean, Koepka's still drinking Ultra, and I just think, I mean, look, everybody makes money, and nobody actually looks at where it came from.
I think the uproar over this is so dumb.
Yeah, and it is. It's just trying to bring attention to something to keep. I almost think it may come out one day that the PGA had a hand in it and helped create this to create a bigger buzz and try to grow the sport
about golf,
because that's all Greg Norman's trying to do is just create another avenue for these guys to play and
Patrick says, when are we talking about Olympic curling? Hardest sport there is now. Look, I don't get me wrong, Patrick. I like some Olympic curling. I think it's a pretty entertaining sport.
Believe it or not, there are places around here that you can go and actually learn how to do that.
No way.
Yeah.
Guys' night.
Yeah.
We're gonna join our own team.
Yeah.
Join the Olympics.
Oh,
it'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. If I ever be an Olympian, that'll be the sport that it's in is curling.
Curling, yes. Or cornhole. If cornhole comes to the Olympics,
Yeah. Well, first we
gotta beat
Austin and Eric before we can go to the Olympics.
We gotta get our championship back from them.
Yeah. So
all right. I said, sign me up. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys taking time out of your night to listen. Thanks, Patrick, for jumping on, and we haven't seen you in a while. I know you've been busy. Thanks for jumping on and talking to us. Kat, we missed you tonight, Kat. So, I don't know where you've been. You haven't been on lately either. But thank you guys so much. We hope you're having a fantastic start to your week. We're about halfway through tomorrow and get going on into the weekend. So God bless, guys, and remember to keep it outspoken.